Hello everyone, I'm from Ireland. Welcome back to my channel. I'm talking about the National Health Service, particularly in England, but much of what I say would be applicable to Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland. The NHS was founded in 1948, if memory serves me. Nye Bevan, a Labour MP, was the first health secretary, saying it'd be free at the point of delivery, that people would get their medicines, their operations, all treatments free, with the exception of dentistry. And they're even free NHS glasses for those who can't afford to purchase their own, and so on. Now, there are prescription charges, but there are exemptions for, I think, students, is it pensioners, the unwaged, and so forth. So there's this principle of universality. Now, there's obviously private healthcare in South Britain, and people occasionally choose to go to private GPs, so private insurance is very expensive, like at least £150, even for 5 minutes with a private GP, and so forth. But that is the NHS, and it's very popular. A high majority of people support it. The Conservative Party might find it against their ideology and indeed opposed it when it's established, quickly came to accept it. Maggie Thatcher said, the NHS is safe in our hands. Made no attempt at its abolishment. Admittedly, things started to go wrong under her. But the system is straining. There's a huge backlog of people need to see the doctor. I needed to see one about something, delayed. It was cancelled. It's changed to a different hospital, but yeah, eventually got what I needed. And that's partly why people go private, just to jump the queue. And the same NHS doctors sometimes moonlight in the private sector because they get a lot more money. Goodness, there are severe problems, staff shortages. They say low morale. There were lots of strikes in the last few years. Labour paid them more, and the doctors and nurses have stopped their strikes for now. The physicians going on strike under the last Conservative government, that was a first. Prior to that, nurses had very, very seldom gone on strike. About 50% of doctors are from overseas, and nurses, it's not quite as high as that. So immigration is absolutely vital for the NHS. The cruciality of it is such that even Reform UK recognises they need to recruit healthcare staff from abroad, which is obviously poaching extremely expensively educated people from the countries that can least afford to lose them. That is invidious and inequitable. But obviously, you can't blame these doctors and nurses and physicians, what are other sort of physicians, so dentists, pharmacists, for seeking to make a better life for themselves. Now, the health secretary at the moment is Wes Streeting. Now, he's not a clinician of any kind. There's no requirement that they should be, and indeed, most health secretaries have not been healthcare professionals at all. So you think, well, what does he know what he's talking about? But I mean, evil bastard though he is, he knows his brief. He is clever, and he's read up on this. He's done his homework on this one. But even he said it's got to reform or die, and they're major problems. They claim to be getting the waiting list down. This can be done by sleight of hand, of course. I don't know if they're doing it. Let's treat the least serious problems first, the very fast ones, and that gets the numbers down. Whereas things which are more medically urgent are very expensive and time consuming, laborious ones, let's not treat those, because even if you treat that, there's still only one patient off the list. I don't know if they've done that to massage the figures rather roughly. Yeah, so I suppose it means more staff, but also efficiency. I remember hearing a journalist over 20 years ago say we need to marketize the NHS. The internal market was brought in by John Major's Conservative government in the mid-90s. Some people said it was terrible, and so on. So it's partly staff numbers, it's partly efficiency, or sometimes surgeons not wanting to do operations on Friday afternoon, they want to go for the weekend. Or there's some robots or artificial intelligence that can do very simple procedures faster than human beings, a lot cheaper, more efficiently, and less likely to have complications. But obviously, doctors don't like it. I think it's a very, very long time before AI is going to replace clinicians altogether. But I suppose they don't even want to begin that. Just like we should have self-driving trains and things like that. But then again, how would you feel if your job was replaced by AI? You might be threatened to become a bit of a Luddite, but we already have self-check-in in airports, self-check-in in hotels occasionally, self-checkout in restaurants. Planes are largely self-flying. Why not gradually introduce it into the health service? If it saves lives, if it cuts cost, it's a no-brainer. Of course, we've got to do it. And if the clinicians don't like it, tough. It's not about them, actually. It's run for the benefit of the patients, not the people who work in it. And that is the problem with a privatized industry. But people in the United Kingdom, including South Britain, tell themselves that the NHS is the envy of the world, and obviously that's not the case. Maybe it was at some point. There are marvelous things about it. It's wonderful that I can go to for the most expensive treatment and not pay a penny and not have to worry about that. I certainly don't want to go down the road of the United States where there are these eye-watering bills, where people go bankrupt over these things. People don't seek the treatment they need, sometimes at all, or just till it's too late because they can't afford it. Ruins things. People take jobs they hate, low salaries, if the health insurance is good, and on and on. And the price of medicines is sky high, is extremely exploitative. It's all run for profit and not for healthcare. So that is a really sick model. And people have known it's been broken for decades. Some attempt under Bill Clinton to sort it out. Evil, evil monster though he is, even he tried to do good occasionally, failed. There was the Affordable Care and Patient Protection Act under Obama, another vicious, vicious, evil, murdering bastard. But even he tried to do something a little bit good. And for a while, it was semi-successful till the Republicans came and gutted the whole thing. Um, there are better models. France, some of the best healthcare in the world, scarcely waiting lists at all. And often you have to pay a little bit towards it. The doctors pay about half their what they paid in the United Kingdom, and they have no difficulty recruiting them. If you want to get rich, don't be a doctor. Well, you won't be poor as a doctor, but many countries like Romania, Russia, doctors are not well paid at all, even by their standards, and they have no trouble recruiting enough people. It's extremely difficult to get into medicine in the United Kingdom. Is it even too difficult? But it's amazingly, they have loads and loads of people applying. Loads of very, very brainy, very hardworking people applying. A lot of them turned down. And they're obviously not just after money. If well, they only cared about money, they go to banking or something of that nature. Um, yeah, it's not they're not principally financially actuated. So maybe we should remember that and not have to have the hugely high salaries. The one thing is some of them get fed up and go abroad. They go to Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, the United States, elsewhere, where the pay is even better. Republic of Ireland, we've got a better healthcare system. We have almost half the population have private healthcare. We've got, free medical care for children, for other low paid, for pensioners and stuff like that. Our healthcare spend per person is only about 5,500 euros per person. We do have problems in hospitals. There's too much overcrowding and so on. But overall, we've got superb healthcare professionals, fairly low waiting lists, really good outcomes, really long life expectancy. And so there's an element of patients paying for themselves. So you can privatize your healthcare without going for this cataclysmic model they have in the United States. So it's just not true that maybe has to be always free at the point of delivery. But I don't, Wes Streeting won't bite the bullet on that one. If the NHS were not so busy murdering children or mutilating children's genitals, that would help, of course, or wasting their time on being indoctrinated into far left ideology, then that would also help. They actually spent their time caring for patients and not opining, not trying to brainwash people into far left theories. Anyway, thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79 at gmail.com. Goodbye.